You are now listening to the Highly Evolved Podcast.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Hollywood Podcast. This episode, I want to venture on the issue of liberal campuses. How our school got so liberal within a few years, or within the decades it's happening. One of the main reason why our school is so liberalized right now is the concept of Frankfurt School. What is the Frankfurt School? Frankfurt School is basically a school started in Frankfurt, Germany by a group of a Marxist philosopher, okay, that came to America to get away from 1940 Germany, the Nazi, the National Socialist Revolution when Hitler came into power. So they were seeking asylum, and the one place to go for that they went was California. California, okay, these group of philosophers, I have names of here. This group of philosophers, they're a bunch of Marxists, okay? Marxist ideology guys, okay? They came to California and it was the 1940s. They see how thing was run, how efficient thing was, how the American dream was being exploited, not exploited, how the American dream was demonstrated. People was very prosperous, right? And these grumpy guys just didn't like it. They didn't really see that what's the point. These people are really not the idea what they're expecting. So they came from Frankfurt, Germany, into California. So they realized that in order to change the society is by changing the academic. By they infiltrated the school system in California. Okay, by these what's that? I think by this program that allowed scholars from other nations to take jobs in universities. So they got into our education system. These group of philosophers, and when they got in there, they were teaching all these socialistic views and ideas, and I guess the university really liked it, so they implement all these other courses. And over time, when they teaching these ideas, they were they were exploiting these theory called critical theory, which is a theory that criticizes everything. Once you criticize things long enough, it will destroy it. Like for say our Second Amendment rights, like what they're doing right now. They try to criticize how bad the Second Amendment rights are now. When you criticize things long enough, people will see it as bad because you're just feeding it the negative and not. When you criticize something, you're only criticizing the negative of it. A negative aspect. You never ever actually point out the good side, the positivity of it. That's the thing with critical theory is one-sided argument. And then when you explain the one-sided argument so many times, people just absorb the one-sided and avoid the other side. That's what's wrong. That's what's wrong with it. You have to, when you look at certain things, you have to see things in both sides in order to get things right. But with critical theory, it only point out the negative views or one-sided. That's why it's so effective within our college campuses because the teacher, the professor, only teaches the negative things like social studies classes, women's studies, African American studies. Is just projecting all these negative things, but they're not projecting the positive thing that comes out of it. They only study the negative. That's why it's that's what's so weird about it. That yeah, back to the point. But when you criticize things so many times, the negative thing, people would absorb that as bad, always bad. Like per se, you criticize cop that they always shoot people, but you're not giving the other side a cop actually save people. And then when people don't learn the other side, they got used to it and they develop these ideology that is so is bad. They always kill people, but not look at the whole view. Which going back to my other video that you have to look everything in a broad aspect instead of just one narrow view. Um, that's the thing with critical theory. And these Marxists for Frankfurt School, Germany, they implemented this. That's why they got into the school system since what the 1940s, and they've been teaching this since the 1940s, decades. And then by the 1960s, that's when you start seeing the feminist movement comes up. Okay, that's how the feminist movement comes up because of critical theory, because of this Frankfurt School. They start telling women that they're being oppressed, which is really negative because they're not they're only telling the bad part. They're not telling the good part. I mean, that's not a good part being oppressive, but back to what I was saying, that's the thing with critical theory, that they're teaching these kids to think one-sided and not think broadly, or have a broad spectrum of thinking, and that gave way to the feminist revolution. Okay, you start seeing the pattern here, right? As soon as the Frankfurt School got in here, you start seeing the deterioration of the educational system. You know, liberal campuses, people are fighting for free speech, which is right now, and it leads to the free speech campus breakdown right now, which point out to the group like Antifa. They're fighting against free speech, but they're preventing people from speaking. See the irony in that? It doesn't make any sense. How are you going to fight for free speech, but rep- oppress other people from speaking? It doesn't make sense. It just does not make sense. I mean, that's the thing with these Antifa kids. They're a product of these Frankfurt schools. They're a product of critical thinking. They're not thinking critically. They're liberated. They're liberal. They're basically, I mean, sorry for the lack of term, but that's what it is. That's what these Frankfurt schools have done to the youth of millennials right now, and among other people. That's why people are so. That's why some people or so many people are so liberalized, that they went to school and they got liberalized. That's the reason why people with a college degree are very liberal, and people who's the working class who never went to college are very conservative because they were never brainwashed into thinking these Frankfurt School ideology, this Marxist ideology. Because where would you pick up these ideology? At friggin' university. When you compare a person who went to university between a working class guy actually did think better than the the people who got an education, because that education is soiled, it's tainted. It's not they're not teaching them the thing that they're supposed to learn. They're brainwashed. They're being brainwashed with this ideology. Okay. Um. Um. Man. And these guys, these founders of these founders. Let me name a few of them. One of Antonio Gramsci, Gregory Luca, and Felix Rowe. Felix Rowe is the guy who created. He's a rich boy, right? He's one of those privileged guys. He's the reason why Frankfurt School was created in the first place. And then when Germany was under Hitler control, that's when they left. They try to make Germany into a Marxist state, but they couldn't do it. So Germany turned into a socialistic state because of Hitler. And then they came to California. It's like these guys does not make they're not thinking straight. These guys, lack of a better term, these are grumpy old men. That's what they are. Grumpy old German men. Um, um, they came to they see how effective it was in the United States, that that they just don't like it. These are bad men. I mean, and you can see it is the effect of it right now. From 50 years ago to right now, you can see the full effect. Working people have a better viewpoint, or not. I don't want to say a better viewpoint, but a better consciousness of how things work. You don't really need to go to school these days. All right. If you want to go to school, the courses. I mean, if you go to school, go to school for, if you want to be an engineer, or doctor, or anything like that. But if you want to go to school just for the sake of going to school, you will 100% be brainwashed by these Frankfurt ideology, Frankfurt School ideology, Marxist ideology. Because I've been a couple of my courses, I took Asian studies. All they teach was the bad part of the oppressive part of Asian. That's what they did. I took African American study. All they taught was the bad aspect of African American. They didn't teach the good aspect of what kind of contribution did they contribute. They only teach the oppressive part. Like who. I mean, yeah, I wanna. It's cool to learn these stuff, but yet again, not all history are bad history. I'm sure there are some good things that come out of history as well. Why don't you teach that? Like the invention of the street light, or who created the first heater or the refrigerator. These stuff are important too, not just the bad side. I mean, You might have an argument in there, but I don't really think all history is very oppressive. Sure, the majority of them are oppressive, but yet again, let's shed some light into the uplifting part, you know. But these are how school become liberal these days. These these liberalized campuses. The civil rights move, the not civil rights, the women's right movement, Frankfurt ideology, Marxist ideology that taught them this. Um, they destroy it. Critical theory is just meant to destroy. That's what it is. It's like the Hegelian dialect. We'll get into the Hegelian dialect later. Hegelian, I'm not sure I pronounce it right, but is a Hegelian dialect is basically make the people choose what size to pick, so the side that you favoring for will win. Like say like 9/11. Okay, you point fingers at it was terrorists, so you get into war, so we can fight with Iraq. That's kind of Hegelian dialect. Put America against against Iraq or terrorism, so American will have an excuse to get into war. That's a little part of the Hegelian dialect. If you don't know Hegelian dialect, I advise you to just do your research on that, because that's a messed up thing. That's how we got into Vietnam. The Hegelian dialect, the fake fake causes for us to get into this senseless dispute with other nations. And but that's another story. I'll say that for some other time. But yeah, that is one reason why our school system are so liberal. The Frankfurt School, sorry, the camera's shaking. The Frankfurt School, those are the reasons who you should blame. 1940, these freaking philosophers. I mean, there's nothing funny about it, but these guys, I would kick their butt if I see them, because they're really telling a boatload of lies here. That's why, I mean, if it wasn't for them, the school system would be so different. It would be more prosperous. The people would look at campuses in a whole different light. People would want to go to school. But because of them, they're the reason why the majority of the college graduates are so liberalized right now. I mean, sure, some of them are conservative, but the majority of them that come out of high school with their astronomical amount of debt are liberal, and they're not seeing that. I mean, it's after the fact that when they get out of high school, I mean, not high school. It's after the fact when they get out of college, they start seeing the light, like I did. I admit, when I was in college, I had this liberal ideology, like, why am I thinking about this, But as soon as I got out, I'm starting seeing the light, start, red pilling, like left to right, like, wow, things not what it say it was in college, things are actually different. But that's just my point of view. But do your own research. That's why our school right now is so liberalized of Marxist ideology, because of the Frankfurt School, which originated from Germany. And if you guys like what I did, please like, subscribe, and share. Continue watching, and I'll continue making videos. Once again, this is the Highly Evolved Podcast. My name is Savon. Thank you for watching, and peace out. Have a good day.